the connection cue. If you are dropping your kids off for school or picking them up, that is an absolute opportunity to talk to them. Take advantage of those connection cues when you're in the drop-off lane, when you're in the pickup lane, or sometimes you don't even have to be on your way to school. It's like the car is awesome. Like connection in the car is huge. What I challenge you guys to do is don't have the radio on. Turn the radio off. Have conversation. Try that. It might feel a little awkward in the beginning, but what I can promise you, the fruit of that is going to be awesome. What's going on, gentlemen? Welcome to the Dad Edge podcast. It is September. Kids are heading back to school. Everywhere you look, parents are joking about survival mode and how we're all in it. The long drop-off lanes, the forgotten lunches, the late buses, the after-school activities, the homework. Oh my God, the freaking homework. Come on now, geez. Homework, like, I seriously kind of wonder if a lot of these schools are like, how much work can we give the parents? I don't even know how they do math anymore. Like, my sixth grader brings home math, and I'm like, how in the world are you guys even taught this anymore? Like, I was even like doing the whole thing, well, you carry the 4 and then you borrow, and he's like, what are you doing? Anyway, it's a lot, but we're back in school. Gentlemen, welcome to the Dad Edge podcast. I am Larry Hagner. I am your host. I am founder of this podcast, this show and movement. I am the husband of one amazing, beautiful, forgiving, patient woman, and I really stress those adjectives. I am also the father of 4 crazy, amazing boys, and so if you ever wonder what my house is like, it's like Animal House. It's like fraternity house. It's crazy, and we are back in school, and I know you guys are back in school if you're listening to this. In fact, you might even be listening to this show as you're dropping your kids off. So, hey, what's up, kids? How are you? Good morning. Monday morning. I'm sure you're so excited to go back to school as you listen to this podcast in the drop-off line. But hey, if you are listening to this podcast right now and your kids are in the car, kids, listen up. That dad of yours that is driving you right now to school, that man loves you more than anything. That man right there driving you to school, believe it or not, you are the highlight of this man's life. You are the apple of your dad's eye. He might get mad at you. He might discipline you here and there. He might force you to do your homework and eat your vegetables. But this man loves you more than anything. And how do I know this? Because I've been working with dudes for the past decade, right? And I know the hearts of men. I know the minds of men. I've very, very far and few between, if ever, do I ever meet a dad who's like, I really want to mess this up. I really want to mess up my kids so badly that they need therapy later on in life. So, kids, your dad loves you, cares about you deeply. And the reason he's listening to this podcast is because he wants to be the best dad for you possible. So, that's what I'll say about your dad who's in the driver's seat right now. Kids, make sure you be nice to the other kids at school today. Don't punch anybody in the face or kick anybody in the shins or anything like that, because school is back in and everybody's just so excited about that. But here's the truth, honestly. School is not just about chaos. It's actually, believe it or not, it's an opportunity for us to step up and create more connection or create different types of connection, to lead better at home or to lead differently at home. Because when we transition from summer to school, things get a little different, things get a little busier. And you know what's kind of crazy though, is the biggest disruption that I always usually hear about is when school's let out. Because if you think about it, school is in session for 3/4 of the year, and then suddenly kids are back home and we're like, oh my gosh, what now? So now that our kids are back in school, you're probably wondering like, man, like, I just need to get my feet underneath me, and I just need to figure this thing out because, we got dance recitals, we have cheer competitions, we have little league football, we have hockey right now, we have all kinds of things right now that are keeping us busy on top of that homework and projects. And let's not deny the fact that there are kids that go to school with our kids that when the science project is due, they have like an 18-wheeler trailer that somehow pulls it up, and their parents did it for them. You just know that. So Today, I'm going to be sharing some tactical things that we can be doing at home now that school is back in session. This is going to be really quick show today, quick to the point. In fact, I'm going to try to make September Friday shows really, really quick. And by the way, I am sorry that Jessica is not joining us today. Man, you guys were so kind, so amazing. Jessica, I'll be honest, man, she was very nervous about coming on the podcast all in August. And it was the 1 month, it was 1 month of 3 that there were 5 Fridays in there. So I convinced her, I twisted her arm to do 4 shows with me. I'm like, hey, do a Friday show with me every Friday in August. It's our anniversary month. We've been married for 22 years. And then I was like, oh yeah, by the way, there's 5 Fridays. And she did it anyway. So if you enjoyed that, do me a favor. Go over to Spotify right now or go over to iTunes. Leave the Dad Ed Show a rating and review. Mention Jessica's name. I would love to be able to show her that you guys appreciated the fact that she spent about 5 hours of her time educating us on some really, really good stuff as it relates to marriage. I know, like, the show, even though it was us, man, I learned a lot. In fact, to be honest with you guys, I really want her back. I really want her back as my co-host on Fridays. I had a blast with her, man. We had an unbelievably connected month in August. Even though the 4th show that we did was a little low energy, we weren't the most connected, but man, it was awesome just being able to just talk to her like that. So go over to Spotify, leave a 5-star review if you don't mind. This podcast is for free. Best way to pay me back or pay back any podcaster is to leave them a 5-star review. It's our sponsors. They keep the lights on. Otherwise, believe it or not, podcasting is not an inexpensive hobby. But anyway, do that for me. Go to Spotify, leave a 5-star rating review, mention Jessica's name, go over to iTunes, leave a 5-star rating review, leave something that Jessica did that maybe you took away, something that was really beneficial for you and your wife that my wife might have shared with you guys. Please don't mention me because, it's all about her. Like, she just did a great job. So appreciate her very much for doing that. So what are we doing right now? What are we doing today? We are going to be talking about just some different ways that we can step in and lead, different ways now that summer is over, and different things that we can do to even create more connection with our kids. So the first one is own one routine as it relates to your kids. One routine. So whether it's like getting breakfast ready, maybe it's school prep, maybe you're the homework guy, and maybe you're the math homework helper. And if that is you, then that means you are not me, because I am terrible at that. Give me the writing projects. Maybe I can do some of the art things or social studies, anything with words I'm good at, but the numbers, maybe you can be the guy helping your kids with the math homework. That's just not me. Maybe what we can do is take over the bedtime routine. Take over, if you still got little kids, take over the bath routine, right? You can also make sure that you own some of these roles and she knows it. And why do we want to do that? We want to do that because we've talked a lot about on this show on invisible labor and cognitive mental load. So think of it this way. Your wife is usually walking around with a lot of invisible labor. That's not to say that we don't. We have a ton of invisible labor. There's about 10,000 things that go in and out of our mind every single day that stress us out, that overwhelm us, that make us happy, that bring us joy. But there's a lot of things on our mind and heart. One of the ways, though, that we can really step in and lead and capture a lot of really cool things and lead in our homes is to own one or a few routines. And like I said, whether that's a bedtime routine, maybe you're the breakfast one, maybe you're the one dropping the kids off at school, maybe you're the one picking up, maybe you are the one helping with homework. In my house, what you'll find me doing is I pretty much own the sports, drop off and pick up and all that good stuff. So anything extracurricular, I help with that. Anything that requires homework that has words. So if my kids have a paper, they have a report, they need to do a presentation, I'm their guy for that. Math, that's my wife. Science, I'm that guy. Another thing, when school's in session, my wife and I take turns cooking dinner, as you guys probably heard in the August shows. But in the school year, we definitely take our turns. She'll cook some nights, I cook other nights, but we meet every single Sunday and we decide who's doing what on what day. So that's really, really helpful as well. Also, the bedtime routine, I always encourage guys, man, if that's not a part of your routine, which I think most guys who listen to the show, bedtime is probably an opportunity for you to really dive in and ask your kids questions and really catch up with them. I will be completely honest with you guys. The bedtime routine is one of the hardest times of the evening for me. And I'll tell you why. It has nothing to do with the fact that there's no distractions. It has nothing to do with the fact that, man, I don't get like a really good like front row seat to my kid's mind and heart. It's because I'm literally exhausted out of my mind. By the time like 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock rolls around, holy crap, dude, I just start to hit a wall with how busy our family is and how crazy life is with 4 boys, full-time business owner, married, all kinds of crazy things going on. I'm exhausted by the time, I put the kids to bed. Here's what I usually do though. I usually come prepared with one question, different questions sometimes every time. I try to vary it up. ChatGPT is great at this, Google is great at this, but anything you can do to elicit conversation with your kids, and usually all you really have to do is ask them one open-ended question. I really like how or what questions. I don't like why questions. I love how or what questions. So I might ask a question of like, hey, what happened when you did your presentation today, and how did you feel about it when it was done? Something like that. I know it's kind of a combination, but I don't usually ask why questions, and I don't ask one word answer questions. So why will usually put my kids on the defense. I don't want them to feel like they're being interrogated unless they're in really big trouble. Then they might get interrogated right before bed, but I don't like to make them feel interrogated. I like to make them feel connected. That's what's most important to me, connection. So usually one question, maybe 2 at the most, and your kid will just start talking. Now, if you have older kids, you might have to get a little bit more creative. If you don't have the best connection with your teenager, then you might have to get a little bit more creative with your questions. And sometimes, to be honest, you don't need any questions with an older kid. You can, but I know sometimes my evening routine, my bedtime routine, when I'm putting to bed my 17-year-old, like his mind kind of wants to shut down and he kind of wants to decompress, and he really doesn't want to spend a whole lot of time or energy on brain function. He wants to chill out and go to bed. So sometimes the best, I know it sounds crazy, but one of the things he values the most is if we actually just chill in his room and watch a barbecue YouTube video. Like he and I both love to cook. We love to barbecue. We love to smoke out different meats and that kind of thing. We watch a couple of different YouTubers that like, they're really, really good about like prepping and cooking and smoking and the different type of rubs that they use and all kinds of really cool stuff. So like that type of time with him is gold. Like he loves that. And he doesn't have a whole lot of brain power for conversation. My oldest, on the other hand, my 19-year-old, he is all about conversation. In fact, his 2 favorite words are let's talk. And usually that's code for I want to talk and I want you to listen, which I'm totally game for, which I love that. But it's also knowing those 2 different kids, and 2 different kids need 2 different types of connection. My 11 and my 9-year-old, usually conversation, usually a lot of conversation. My 9-year-old conversation is a little goofy, fun, kind of weird, depending on the conversation. Like I just, I get to hear why his peanut butter and jelly sandwich fell apart at lunch, right? Or like how he doesn't like the crust on his sandwich or something like that. So it's really, I don't know. It's a lot of different things that happen, but it doesn't really matter to me what we're talking about as long as we're talking. My 11-year-old, who's almost 12, like we have a lot of conversations now, a lot of really cool conversations. He's got a lot of questions about growing up and being in middle school, questions about girls, questions about friendships, different dynamics and relationships. His world is vastly different from my 9-year-old, and they're only 2 years apart. But that conversation is very, very different. So anyway, own one routine. And if you can really capitalize on one thing, it's bedtime. Bedtime is where the gold really comes out. And when I say the gold, it means like they feel usually the most authentic with you. They feel the most psychologically safe with you. I mean, there's something really cool about being under, your kids under the covers. You're sitting next to them on the edge of the bed. They're laying down. It's kind of dark. It's kind of quiet. It's not really intense. And then it's just you and them. And then suddenly out of nowhere, they're telling you like everything, which is really, really cool. So, own one routine, pick what that is, carry that so your wife doesn't have to. Now, here's another one, the connection cue. So if you are dropping your kids off for school or picking them up, that is an absolute opportunity to talk to them. What are you most excited about today? right? Who do you plan on sitting with at lunch today? Who's your best friend? And why are they your best friend? What do you appreciate about them, right? Who's your favorite teacher? Who's your worst teacher? What's the most boring class that you have? Just all these different questions. Your kids will open up. And there's something also about asking questions when you're side by side and you're not nose to nose, toes to toes. So when you're driving and they're beside you, they probably are going to open up to you just a little bit more. So take advantage of those connection cues when you're in the drop-off lane, when you're in the pickup lane, or sometimes you don't even have to be on your way to school. It's like the car is awesome. So like practices to and from, whatever practice, whatever extracurricular activity you're doing, like connection in the car is huge. So for this week, what I challenge you guys, or actually next week since it's Friday, what I challenge you guys to do is don't have the radio on. Turn the radio off. Have conversation, right? Try that. It might feel a little awkward in the beginning, but what I can promise you, the fruit of that is going to be awesome. So kids always remember, man, even my older guys, they remember like really, really cool conversations that we had on the way to school and the way home. Like some of the best conversations we had were in the junior high drop-off lane at school. So anyway, that's number 2. Number 3, this one is super important. So at the end of every week, have a check-in, or what I call a weekly huddle with your wife. Okay, so what this really is you start discussing what is working, what's draining, what can you tweak. So think about like who's responsible for what. So if she's in charge of, if you're wired anything like Jessica, like my wife, she hates cooking dinner. Like she talked about that through August. Hates cooking dinner. It just feels like a heavy task to her. Reason being is because I got picky eaters, and people usually complain about her. One or two people are going to complain about her cooking. She can't stand that. She's like, I work my tail off to cook something nice, and then kids complain about it. So for her, when I step up and she's like, gosh, would you mind doing a few more of the dinners this week? And then I'll do this over here. I'll do this, and this, if you do this, and that. So being able to debrief as a couple, especially during the busy school year where you have not only school and homework and extracurricular activities, the weekends are also packed too with usually extracurricular activities like your games or recitals or anything that's going on. So it's really, really important to have a check-in with your spouse. So again, we're going to go over these 3 again, which is number 1, own one of the routines, whether it's breakfast, whether it's drop-off, whether it's school prep, whether it's homework, maybe you're the math guy. Take full ownership in owning some of those tasks now that life is a little bit busy again. The connection cue. Make sure that when you're with your kids, life is now busier. You kind of got to fight a little bit harder for their time now that summer is over. And so your connection opportunities with them are not nearly as frequent as they probably were in the summer, depending on your schedule. And then the last one is a debrief call to action. So make sure every single week that you are debriefing, right, with your wife. I'm actually in the process. I don't have this launched yet, but I will. I probably will have it launched before the end of September, maybe even in October. But I'm going to have a free resource for you guys for a weekly meeting, or what we call a weekly huddle. And it's not just a planning tool, but it's also an intimacy tool. It's a connection tool. It's a way that I can constantly, every single week, not only plan for success with my wife, but we also get to get closer. We also get to have great conversation. We also get to find out things about each other that maybe we didn't know. So it makes it a little intimate, it makes it a little fun, it makes it really, really connecting. And that's what these weekly huddles should be all about, right? So probably sometime this month, if maybe even October, I'll probably have that created for you guys. It'll be, I think it'll be something that will really help you out. It'll be a PDF, and it'll be something you can download for free. So as we wrap up here today, I want to make sure that you guys have everything that you need. So I'm going to put these 3 things in the show notes for you guys. If you guys go to thedadedge.com/1362 for this show, again, thedadedge.com/1362, or if you just want to forward that over to your wife and say, hey, maybe we can talk about a few of these things. Like, what do you own? What do I own? How can we connect with our kids better now that their time is a little bit more tight and it's harder? We're fighting for their time. And most importantly too, how can you and I debrief and have a check-in every single week where we plan for success, but we also connect? That's what we're going to do this week. So as you step into next week, make sure it's successful, right? Own one of those things, connect with your kids, and check in with your wife. Gentlemen, head on over to thedadedge.com/1362 for this show, for all the links. I'm also going to have a couple links in there too for you. As you guys know, Bark is a sponsor of the podcast, and we live in a digital age right now. Many of your kids right now, as you drop them off to school, they've got a phone in their hand, right? And that's a window to the world. And sometimes you have no idea what's going on. Your kid could be going through a really dark time, or maybe their friends are talking to them about drugs, or maybe they're trying to peer pressure them into doing something bad. Get Bark. I can't recommend Bark highly enough. They've been a sponsor of the podcast for almost 6 years now. I've been using Bark for the past 6 years. My 11-year-old just got the Bark phone. My 9-year-old has the Bark watch. You cannot go wrong. If you guys head on over to thedadedge.com/Bark, you'll get 10% off of all of their program, all their different plans. You can actually download the app and just put it on their phone. So if they've got an iPhone already, or a Samsung, an Android, it doesn't really matter. You can use the app. If they don't have a device yet, you can get them a Bark phone for a discount. If you're like me, I'm not getting a 9-year-old a phone. I'm just not going to do it. But he does have a Bark watch. The only thing the thing does is it calls, it text messages, and I know where he is on a map. There's no apps. There's no web browsing. There's no nothing. It's literally like, it's a way for me to get a hold of him. And it's a way for his friends to get a hold of him and for me to know where he's at. And I still get all the Bark alerts and all that good stuff. All the link for you guys in the show notes there for you as well. Head on over to thedadedge.com/1362 for this show. Gentlemen, have a great weekend. Talk to you next week.